Alright, so I'm sure that you've heard the quote, or you most likely have heard the quote, early to bed, early to rise makes a man young, wealthy and wise. Now, this is a quote that, it's one of those things where you've heard it, you don't know where, you don't know when, but you've heard it somewhere, you've heard it many times. Now, for me, this is one of those things where that quote, like I would guess, I probably heard that quote 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago. And so, this morning, for instance, the reason I'll give you guys a quick sort of story, and then I'll tell you guys why I'm talking about this. But basically, I haven't woken up early for a long time. Like in 2023, when I started my fitness journey, I would wake up end of 2022. I'd probably wake up at 7:30, and then when I started my fitness journey, I started getting up like an hour earlier. So if I was waking up at 7, I'd get up at 6 every single day. And so for honestly a solid 5-6 months, maybe even 7 months, from end of January till July, August 2023, I was getting up at 6:15 every morning. Not every morning, but probably solid 4, maybe 5 days of the week. I'd get up at 6:15. Mainly school days, because at school days I'd have to be on the bus and be let out of the house by 7:50. So I'd have to get up by 7 anyway. So what I do is I just get up at 6, get in all my workouts, get in all that stuff, and then I have extra time as well. I generally wouldn't work out the full hour. I'd only work out maybe 40, 50 minutes. But I used to get up early. I used to get up at sometimes even quarter to 6, 6, quarter past 6, for 6, 7 months. And then even after that, for the second half of 2023, I was still waking up at 6:30, 7. And so I woke up, decently early. So some people, waking up at 7, 6:30, 7 each day, that's early. For me, that's not really, 7 is we pretty much got up at 7 my whole life, so it just is what it is. Right now it's 7:07, I think. And then through 2024, or towards the end of 2023, and then throughout 2024, I didn't really wake up that early, that much. I normally, I would wake up anywhere between 6:30 to 8 o'clock, depending on, whether it's a school day, weekend, holidays, time of year, whatever it was. And so I didn't really, I haven't really been waking up early. I never really had a morning routine. For maybe 2 months of the year I did. But other than that, I never really got up early. I never really had a morning routine throughout 2024. But over the last couple of days, even the last week, I've thought about this saying, early to bed, early to rise makes a man young, wealthy and wise, many times. And it's well, I sat down and thought about it 3 or 4 days ago. And I was like, is this actually true? How much does that actually help? And I've realized, adding on to that, I saw a video, and it was this, I don't know, I can't remember who it was, but basically, I was talking about this study. It might have been someone talking about some other person who did a study. And basically, they did this study that the hours of sleep you get before 12, before midnight, are gonna be 2.5 times better sleep than the hours you get after 12. And so it's if you get 6 hours if you go to bed at 7 p.m. and wake up at 3 a.m., what's that 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. That's 8 hours of sleep, right? 7 p.m. till 3 a.m. That sleep is theoretically, if you did that, after you get into that routine, after a week or two, that sleep is going to be better sleep than if you went to bed at midnight and got up at 8 a.m. Not because of the hours, but because of the time. And it's got something to do with your circadian rhythm, the sun, just the natural way that your body works and that nature works, and the people, back in the caveman days and throughout in the last up until the last 100 years, but all throughout history, people have sort of gone to bed when the sun goes down, and then gotten up when the sun gets up. And so people went to bed a lot earlier, right? So maybe some places the sun goes down at whatever it is, 5:30, 6 p.m. Some places the sun goes down at 8, 9 p.m. But so the study basically says that the hours of sleep you get before 12, before midnight, are the most important hours. And so basically, the saying, early to bed, early to rise, basically is in line with that, saying you should go to bed earlier and you should wake up earlier. And so for me, I look at that as I already go, I don't go to bed, early anymore. I used to think when I was 12, 13, and we would go to bed at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and my friends would be yeah, I go to bed at 10 o'clock. I'm like, that's crazy, what? And then now it's sometimes, a lot of times we do go to sleep at 9:30, 10, 10:30, sometimes even 11. But we generally go to bed 8:30, 9 o'clock, so not crazy late. I do sort of stay up a bit after everyone else and not get things done, but like clean up stuff. But I generally go to bed pretty early. I'm not one of those, like typical like teenagers that stay up till like 2 a.m. on their phone every day. I go to bed probably most nights between like 9 and 10, and then so if I go to bed at 9 and I need 8 hours of sleep. 9 p.m. So you've got 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I go to bed at 9 p.m., theoretically, I could wake up at 5 a.m. And so I thought about this, and it was like, if I get 8 hours of sleep, if I go to sleep at 9, I've got 3 hours before midnight. On average, the average person gets 1 hour of sleep before midnight. The average person, on average, people go to sleep at about 11. Not all the time, not everyone, but on average, I think this might have been Americans, but on average, the average, I think, American goes to sleep at about 10:30 to 11, average, okay? Most nights it's later than that, but some nights earlier, right? It's probably like 11 to 12. And so if you get 3 hours of sleep, if I go to bed at 9 and I get 3 hours of sleep before midnight, that sleep of me going to bed at 9 is going to be better than if I go to bed at 11. And so I was thinking about this. I was like, what if I was try like doing work like at the end of the night, and I realised that even if I only, let's say, the difference between me going to bed at 9 and getting up at, the difference between me going to bed at 10 and getting up at 7 compared to me getting 1 less hour sleep, but me going to bed at 9 and getting up at 5 or 6 a.m. The work I will do at the end of the day will never be as high quality and as productive as the work you'll do at the beginning of the day. Sorry. And so, if you get up, instead of trying to do work at the end of the day, I'm going to sneeze. Instead of trying to do work at the end of the day, put your work at the beginning of the day, and you'll be so much more productive. Now, this morning I decided to test this out, and so I woke up at 5. Well, actually, I wanted to be up and getting things done at 5. So I set my alarm for 4:55 and a second alarm for 5 o'clock. So basically, I have this theory that and I've seen this. I don't know, it's just a theory, but well, it's not just it works. But if you set your alarm, if you're gonna get up at 5 a.m., if you set your alarm for 5, you might hit snooze, right? You might not get out. You might go back to bed. And so if you just set one alarm, by the time if you actually get out of bed, I have my alarm over here on my desk. It's on the other side of the room from my bed. I never have my phone in my bed. I always either have it in a different room or I have it charged on my desk, which is a solid 8-10 feet away from my bed. I have to get up, turn the alarm off, but I could go back to bed. And so what I like to do is I set 2, sometimes I even set 3 alarms. Saturday I set 3 because it was important. I wanted to get up. I was going to make sure that happened. But I normally set 2 alarms, and so I'll set one at a certain time. Let's say I want to get up at 5. I'll set one alarm for 5 and one for 5:05. Today it was 4:55 and 5. Now the theory is I get up, 4:55, boom, the alarm's off, I lay there for like 5-10 seconds, I get up, turn the alarm off. And then I'm most likely going to get back in bed. Because one alarm, I'm not going to be awake enough to have the same willpower and control as someone who's already awake, right? You notice that if you lay in bed for 20 minutes, it's so much easier to get out of bed than if you get out immediately. But what I like to do is I set the alarm, and then I set a second alarm for 5 minutes later. Because by that time, I've already woken up, my brain's already sort of turned on. So by the second time, it's like, oh, well, I'm awake now, okay? Whereas the first time, I'm sort of still asleep, whatever, you're not really up and going. Whereas if you set a second alarm for a couple minutes later, which I did mine 5 minutes later, you're sort of more awake. And so then it's like 10 times easier to just get out of bed and get things done. So I wanted to get up at 5. So I set the first alarm for 4:55, the second alarm for 5, and then, I was up, sitting at my desk at 5. I was going to say 5:01, but I got up, turned the alarm off, and did my morning pages, which is right here. Literally. First thing I did, well, not first thing, but within 30 seconds maybe 60 seconds of my alarm going off, I was up and I did my morning pages. Boom, right? Now originally, at the beginning of this month, the goal was to do 5 ideas per, morning pages. Today I've done 27, as you can see there. There's 15 ideas on the first page, and then it goes to 27 on there. Now, I have upped it to a minimum of 10 ideas, but I did that. So I did 17, I think, originally. Then I got some things done. Then I went and had breakfast like half an hour later, and did another 10. This chair's squeaky, yes. But basically, the main point of this video, I don't know how else it's been. The main point of this video is that if you get up earlier, you will get more done. So just say, here's a test. Back in 2023, I did this, and now I'm doing this again. What do you want to do? Just to start off, if you normally wake up at 8 a.m., don't try and get up at 4 a.m. all of a sudden, right? Don't do that, because it's not going to work. You're going to quit. You're going to have, like, getting up early sucks. And then if you don't do it this time, you're going to be more inclined to not do it the next time. So don't make it too hard on yourself. What I like to do is, especially when I'm just, like, there's been times where I would wake up at, 8 a.m. on weekends, and eventually, after, like, a month or two, I'd get up at, like, 5:36. Whereas, what I like to do is basically go to bed an hour earlier and get up an hour earlier. So instead of going to bed at 10 and getting up at 6, go to bed at 9 and get up at 5. Let's say you like to get 11 hours sleep. If you go to bed at 9 and get up at 8, cool. Go to bed at 8 and get up at 7. You're going to be so much more productive. How much sleep you like to get, whatever. Make sure you're getting a healthy amount of sleep. Don't be like, well, I can just, not go to bed and get up an hour earlier. Don't be going to bed at midnight and getting up at 4 a.m. That's a terrible idea, right? If you have to, you have to, but I don't recommend it. Do you? But what I like to do is find a healthy amount of sleep. For me, I generally like to get anywhere between 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Obviously, I just is how it is. Most of my family, we sort of go to sleep around the same time when everything's done. I basically just shifted when I get up an hour earlier. Now, I haven't exactly shifted when I go to sleep an hour earlier, because we don't have like a set time. Generally, it's roughly between 8:30 to 10. So I like to try and just, the last couple of days, I've been trying to get into bed quicker. Like, what I normally do is everyone goes to bed and I go out and clean stuff. Not like, clean my room and move things. I've basically, the last couple of days, I've tried to not do that. Even last night, it didn't work. After everyone went to sleep, I was probably still doing things for like half an hour. Basically, the moral of this story is early to bed, early to rise makes man young, wealthy, and wise. This morning, I got up at 4:59. I got up at 5 o'clock. I got 2 hours of working. I did waste a little bit of time, but I had 2 extra hours, and I made use of probably an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and a half of that extra time. I am working at 9 a.m., which was the main reason for getting up this early, so I thought if I was normally going to get up at 7:30, I would only have half an hour to do my own thing and to get things done before I have to go to work. And then it'd be the afternoon by the time I get back from work. I'm working 9 till 1. So I thought if I get up at 7, I'm really not going to get, like, I could do a workout. I'm only going to have maybe half an hour, 45 minutes to do my own thing. So I thought if I get up at 5, I can blend that time together. If I get up at 5, I can have from 5 to 8 to do my own thing, 8 to 9 to get ready to go to work. So I was like, instead of having half an hour, I'll have 3 hours, right? It's 7:18. I've already had breakfast. I've already done my morning I've done twice as much as I normally do on my morning pages. I'm already here filming a video. I'm already dressed. I've already cleaned up my desk. Well, not really. I've sort of half cleaned it up. I've already, done a bunch of things. I've done some writing. I've done some thumbnail ideas. I've done some good work. Now, it hasn't been the most productive 2 hours ever, but I know for a fact I'm gonna have a much more productive day purely because I got up earlier. Purely because I got up at 5 a.m. And so I was like, I'm up at 5 a.m. Let's 5 a.m. Let's go. I'm in the 5 a.m. Like, bro, 5 a.m. That's crazy. So I was all of a sudden, I'm like, I got 3 hours before it. I was like, bro, 5 a.m. Right? It's Monday. It's the day after Australia Day. So if you're in Australia, you know what? Some people don't like to call it Australia Day. And some people like to call it Invasion Day or whatever you want to call it. Right? Yesterday was the 26th of January, which in Australia is Australia Day. Some people, they don't like to, I don't know, on the calendar it says Australia Day. So it's a long weekend. Today's Monday. Today's the 27th. And so my parents, they said, we're long weekend. We're going to sleep in. Don't wake us up. Don't be noisy. I was like, alright, cool. Don't wake anyone up. So I was like, I'm going to get up extra early. Normally, if I get up normally on weekdays, I'm not going to go into it. Basically, my family sort of gets up a lot earlier on weekdays. So I was like, if I could sort of get up at 6:30, everyone else is already up doing things. It's sort of just harder to get into your flow when everything else is, happening. Whereas if you get up at 5, no one else is awake. You can just set up your day, get things done. There's way less distractions if you get up at 5 versus if you get up at 7:30 and everyone else is awake. So now, because I got up at 5, I'm so much more motivated. I got tasks done immediately. I didn't waste much time. I say I didn't waste much time. I was looking on YouTube for half an hour. Originally I was looking for my subscribers to see new uploads, but I ended up wasting half an hour, which wasn't the best, but I still got work done. I still, got things done. I still fixed that. And so now my day is going to be so much better because I got up early, because I set my day up right. I did, I wasn't scrolling on TikTok or YouTube Shorts. I was looking through YouTube like videos, but still, same thing. I'm scrolling on my phone. But other than that, I got a bunch of productive things done. I've got a lot of my things off my list. At 7:20, I'm gonna go do a workout. I'm gonna film another video, maybe. Who knows? Early to bed, early to rise makes a man young, wealthy, and wise. If you get up early, if you set your day up right, your day is gonna be way more productive. Right? The difference you will have, no matter what time you get up, if you normally wake up at 9 and you get up at 8, and you do something productive first thing in the morning, something little, right? Morning pages takes me 5, 10, 20 minutes. If you get up 1 hour earlier, do that task, your day is going to be way more productive if you can set it up right? If you set it up right. Anyway, hopefully you guys could hear me right. I wasn't using my Rode mics, I was just using the GoPro mic. This chair is squeaky as. That's crazy. Anyway, I'm gonna go. My name's Sam. I'm a 15-year-old aspiring entrepreneur / content creator, documenting the journey to achieving my goals in 2025 and beyond. I'm also sharing all the lessons I'm learning with you guys along the way. If you want to subscribe, see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment any videos you want me to make in the future, and any of my other resources are in the channel description. Free or paid newsletter, paid ebook, second channel. Go check those out. I'll see you tomorrow.